the day we were supposed to get married. My boyfriend said he wanted to register his sister's child under my name. She'll face social disapproval for an unwed pregnancy. If the child is registered under your name, it can be ours. I flatly refused. My boyfriend was furious and stormed off, saying, "We'll get married when you agree." I smeared and immediately posted on social media, "Anyone want to get married with me? Husband wanted, urgently." 10 minutes later, my childhood best friend pulled up in a sports car, making a flashy entrance. No takebacks. Seaside in July was scorching. I clutched my university diploma. My boyfriend Liam and I stood beneath the gilded lettering of City Hall. My mind was buzzing with thoughts. We were finally tying the knot. But then, he dropped a bombshell that left me stunned. My sister is facing an unwed pregnancy, and she's being bullied by some rich girls in her class. When the baby is born, it can be registered under your name, right? I stared at him, unable to process what he'd said. Your sister? Isn't she barely 18? Yes. She just finished high school exams and got into our alma. He said it proudly, as if it were the most reasonable thing. I didn't laugh. I only felt a profound sense of irony. If your sister is pregnant, I have to be the mother of her child. Aren't you afraid of being judged by everyone? He frowned. You're overthinking it. It's not a big deal. You'd just be lending your name, right? She's upset, and my heart goes out to her. I can't just ignore her. It's family blood, after all. You raising it would be the same. Huh. Without looking back, I flatly refused. I don't agree. She's your family's treasure, but I'm not your garbage disposal. You can't just dump all your problems on me. Liam's face turned livid, as if I'd stepped on his tail. How dare you speak to me like that? Grace, you won't even help with such a small matter? Fine, then we'll get married when you're finally willing. I didn't try to stop him. I watched him storm off and hail a cab. The scorching sun beat down on my face. Gritting my teeth, I opened my phone and posted an update to my social media. At City Hall, Seaside, anyone want to get married with me? Husband wanted, urgently. Less than 10 minutes later, a flashy yellow convertible sports car smoothly pulled up in front of me. A young man stepped out of the driver's seat. He wore a red leather jacket. Walking against the light, his sharp features made him look like a rebellious protagonist breaking out of a comic book panel. Grace. I'm here. He smiled brazenly, his dark eyes glinting. No takebacks. After we got married, Jax looked at the marriage certificate, like a child who had just won an award. He flipped it over and over, beaming with pride. You really married me. He grinned, then put on his sunglasses. Grace, it's too late to back out now. I didn't say anything. I just sighed. Sitting on a chair at City Hall's marriage registration desk, lost in thought, I gazed at him. Aren't you hot? The sun danced on his red leather jacket, flaring like fire. Today's an important day. Looking good is what matters most. He suddenly stood up and pulled me along. Come on, let's buy a gift. What gift? A wedding gift. We need to get rings first. Before I could react, he had already made a call. He booked the city's largest department store, the entire building. The front desk manager scurried down to greet us, with a smile, saying, Mr. Jax, please feel free to choose. Whatever Grace likes, just take it. I looked at the rows of jewelry and gowns. My eyes were dazzled, as if I'd stepped into a golden wonderland. Jax led me around, trying on rings. In the end, I chose a subtle pair of platinum wedding bands. Before they were even properly on my finger, Alfred, the Hayes butler, suddenly appeared, carrying a black velvet box. This is an emerald necklace that Jax's grandfather acquired last month at the London auction house. He said that if the young master were to get married, it must be given to the young mistress. I was taken aback. Your grandfather found out so quickly? Jax shook his head. I decided to bring it. No need to rush with the marriage announcement. I don't want you to be hounded by them. We'll give them a surprise later. I instinctively refused. It's too valuable. Jax raised an eyebrow. You're my wife. If you want the stars from the sky, I'll pluck them for you. I was speechless with a wry smile. Jax, you weren't like this before. I didn't dare before, but now you're officially mine. As he spoke, he opened another interface on his tablet. He scrolled through photos of luxury homes for me to see. We need a matrimonial home. Which ones do you like? No need to choose yet. I looked up at him. I'm going to graduate school, at my previous university. He paused for a moment. The next second, he stretched out his long legs and settled onto the sofa. With a roguish air, he smirked. All right then, I'll get a position there. I'll have to keep an eye on my wife at school every day. He laughed, his gaze so serious it didn't seem like a joke. What if someone bullies you? The afternoon sun was just right. I leaned back in Jax's passenger seat, enjoying the air conditioning. Just as I closed my eyes, my phone rang. It was Grandma. "Grace, have you gotten married yet?" Her voice was kind and warm, tinged with impatience. I glanced at Jax, who was leisurely driving beside me. I softly replied, "Yes, I did. Only, on the certificate, the name wasn't Liam. It was Jax." "That's wonderful." Grandma's laughter carried through the phone. "Today is Chloe's birthday. I've prepared a meal at home. Grace, why don't you come back and eat with us? Double celebration, let's make it lively." I was silent for a moment. Grandma has always been kind to me. In her younger days, she was a renowned businesswoman in Seaside. She was always amiable towards people. After losing my own grandmother, she filled that void for me. I nodded. "Okay, I'll go." Some things needed to be addressed face to face. I hung up the phone. Jax held the steering wheel with one hand, turning his head to look at me. "Going to the residence?" "Yes, Grandma at the has always been good to me." "I'll go with you," he said, as if it were obvious. I smiled thinly. "You're going to wear that red leather jacket? What if you scare someone into having a heart attack right there?" He shrugged, looking unfazed. "Then I'll go home and change into a suit right now. I'm afraid you'll get bullied." I gazed into the distance, my voice chilling. "It's fine, I can handle it myself. Some things have to end now." Jax was somewhat reluctant. "Then kiss me, as a reward." I rolled my eyes at him. "You owe me." After getting out of the car, I took a cab to the residence. The villa was as grand and imposing as ever. A red carpet was laid out in the garden. The main hall was brightly lit, and relatives filled the grand hall. The moment I stepped inside, Liam was standing by the dining table, holding a wine glass, smiling gently at everyone. His sister Chloe had deliberately worn a fluffy white high-waisted tiered dress. Her belly was noticeably slightly distended. Her makeup was light. She looked obedient and demure, like a little princess. But I knew. She wasn't wearing that dress to look pretty. It was to hide her pregnancy. Among the Hayes family, only Liam and I knew what that belly concealed. When she saw me, she asked in a soft, sweet voice, "Brother, has your girlfriend arrived? Why don't you go get her?" Liam frowned, looking reluctant, and walked over to me. I ignored his offered arm, and slowly turned away. Liam's face instantly became grim. I went to the family wing in the backyard to see Grandma. The lights in the family wing were a warm yellow. Old walls were covered in climbing vines. The scent of old times mingled with the aroma of fresh cooking, wafting towards me. Grandma came out smiling to greet me. She was wearing her favorite elegant silk dress, and pulling me by the hand, she said, "Grace, Grandma has been waiting for this day for so long. Once you two are married, our family will finally be complete." As she spoke, she had a servant bring an ornate wooden box. Inside, it held a smooth, translucent emerald bracelet. Its color was brilliant, and its quality exceptional. "This bracelet is a family heirloom, passed down from mother-in-law to daughter-in-law. I didn't give it to his mother. Grandma is giving it to you now." My fingertips stiffened. Before I could refuse, a familiar voice came from the doorway. "Grandma, we're here. Let's go to the front to eat cake together." Liam walked in, followed by Chloe. All right, let's go celebrate Chloe's birthday first." Liam helped his grandmother walk ahead. Chloe followed behind me, her steps light. Her eyes were slightly lowered, a smile playing on her lips. When she reached my side, she whispered to me, "You're so kind, sister, willing to raise someone else's child. Not everyone has such a charitable heart." I smiled faintly but didn't answer. I watched them take their seats, my expression unchanged. Chloe dutifully snuggled up to Grandma, and casually pulled Liam down to sit next to her. She pointed to the seat beside Liam and smiled sweetly. "Would you like to sit next to brother?" I took the hint and sat down. Grandma, beaming, put a generous helping of food into my bowl. "You two should visit more often in the future. Once you're married, you'll be one family." I looked at Liam. He leaned closer to my ear, his tone dismissive. "I told Grandma we'd already gotten married. I didn't want her to be happy for nothing. As long as you agree to raise Chloe's child, I'll go register our marriage with you. Chloe is still young and needs to go to school. If news of her pregnancy gets out, people will gossip." He paused, then added, "If the child is raised with us, he'll be at ease, and so will I." It was as if I'd just heard the most ridiculous joke. Without batting an eye, I looked up and smiled. "You're feeling reassured a little too soon." The chandelier in the banquet hall cast a brilliant glow. The dishes on the table were exquisite, appealing to sight, smell, and taste. On the table was a custom 5-tier strawberry cream cake. Liam stood up. He handed a silver gray high heel shoe box from behind him to Chloe. Happy birthday. This is the gift your sister-in-law and I picked out for you. She took it with a smile, opened the lid, and her eyes lit up. Brother, you remembered. It was the latest designer diamond-studded red-soled high heels from CL. A global limited edition. I suddenly remembered my birthday last month. When he gave me a pair of shoes, he had smiled just as gently, saying, "There's only one pair like this in the whole world, I specially bought them for you." But now it seemed, I had received a counterfeit. I curved my lips into a silent, ironic smile. The sarcasm was evident. Liam noticed my expression. He immediately leaned over and whispered, trying to appease me, "Grace, Chloe has wanted these for a long time, and I just wanted her to be happy. Your pair. Well, you have so many shoes anyway. I'll buy you a real one next time to make it up to you." I looked at his self-righteous expression, and chuckled softly. "You don't mind me wearing fake shoes, and you don't mind me raising your sister's child, you're a true saint." He froze. He didn't grasp the sharpness of my words. The cake was cut. The cream emitted a sweet fragrance. A servant cut the first slice and offered it to me. Liam took it, then smiled and placed it in my hand. I didn't even look at it. With a loose grip, the cake fell onto the marble floor, cream splattering everywhere. The entire hall fell silent. Liam's face darkened. "Grace, what are you doing?" I looked at him, slowly smiling. "I wouldn't dare eat your family's cake." I stood up. Andy scanned the room. What if, after eating it, I inexplicably end up with a child? Chloe's smile froze on her face. Her face instantly turned pale. Grandma quickly came over and grabbed my hand. "Grace, what's wrong? Have you misunderstood something?" I slowly smiled. "Grandma, Liam and I have broken up. From now on, I won't be coming here anymore." Her hand trembled, and she let go of me. I turned and walked away without looking back. Outside the door, the night wind hit my face. Headlights illuminated in front of me. A familiar sports car pulled to a stop, and Jax leaped out of the driver's seat. He had changed into a shirt. His hair was windswept, and there was still unwiped sweat on his forehead. "I knew you wouldn't be able to handle it alone," he said, reaching up to brush a strand of wind-blown hair from my face. "So, did anyone dare bully you?" I couldn't help myself. I laughed and threw myself into his arms. And this scene played out right before Liam's eyes. The night was deep. City lights like a sprawling net, trapping people in deep-seated obsessions they refused to let go of. I had just finished showering. When I came out, my phone rang. It was Liam. I stared at the familiar number, and pressed the answer button. "What exactly did you mean at the banquet today?" He started with an accusation. His voice was full of suppressed rage. I tucked my hair behind my ear, my tone calm. "The literal meaning, Liam. I told you we've broken up, and I won't be going to the residence anymore. You're making such a scene over such a trivial matter?" He dared not utter the word pregnancy, fearing the truth might be overheard. I sneered. "Your sister is pregnant, and you want me to help you cover it up, even register the child under my name. Do you really think I'm just a backup plan?" He was silent for a few seconds, then his voice softened when he spoke again. "I didn't mean it like that, Grace. I'm just too worried about Chloe. She's only 18 and about to start university. What will happen to her future if news of this gets out? So you came to me to clean up your mess?" My tone was sharp, unforgiving. "She's your sister, I'm not your mother." He fell silent. On the other end, he seemed to take a breath, trying to calm himself and gently coax me. "Grace, stop making a fuss. You know I want a future with you. The child was an accident. We can live a good life, and raising her child in our home, isn't that the same?" "The same?" I chuckled softly, my fingernail lightly scraping the tabletop. "What? Is the child yours?" That question struck him like a bolt of lightning, leaving him silent for a long moment. Then, his emotions erupted uncontrollably. "Grace, what nonsense are you spouting?" "Nonsense?" I cut him off. "You're so invested, acting more like a father than a brother." On his end, I heard several heavy breaths, but he couldn't find a single word of rebuttal. After a long pause, he finally managed to squeeze out, "You're just trying to provoke me." I couldn't be bothered to listen further and hung up directly. The moment the call disconnected, silence returned to the room. Outside the window, the night was as black as ink. Distant car lights stretched into streaks of light. The dappled shadows of trees on the street resembled the years Liam and I had spent together. We had embraced, yet we had long since drifted apart. I placed my phone face down on the table and took a deep breath. I would never look back. This designed relationship. I was out. It was late. I curled up on the sofa, sipping a freshly brewed black tea. The tea was bitter, but it couldn't compare to the subtle ache in my chest. I remembered the years Liam and I had spent dating. We met in college. He was tall, handsome, and a popular figure in our department. Yet he specifically took a liking to me, pursuing me for an entire semester. Liam was truly wonderful back then. He would cook and bring me porridge when I was pulling all-nighters for Purse warm my hands in winter, and take me to eat candied chestnuts, a treat his mother often made when he was a child. But every time our relationship began to warm up, Chloe would appear at just the right moment, disrupting everything. She was the Hayes' adopted daughter, 3 years younger than me. From the time Liam and I started dating, she would accidentally show up in front of us. The first time, Liam and I had planned to go to an amusement park. But when we arrived at the entrance, he got a call and said, "My sister is crying alone at home because her teacher criticized her. I need to go back and check on her." I understood and smiled, saying I'd wait for him. But he was gone for the entire day. That evening, he finally texted me back. I was helping Chloe with her homework until too late, and my phone died. The second time was my birthday. He was going to take me to a French restaurant. Just before we left, Chloe sent him a picture, claiming she had fallen and her knee was bruised. He immediately canceled our reservation, leaving me standing alone on the street. He explained to me, "She's young, and it's upsetting for a girl to fall, you understand, right?" Of course, I understood. But similar incidents became more frequent. He took me on an outing, and she called to pull him away, saying she wanted strawberries. We'd have a movie date, and she'd insist he take her for tutoring. Even when I was sick with a fever, lying in the hospital, he only stayed for a few minutes before rushing off, saying, "Chloe has her grade 9 piano exam today, and I promised to pick her up." In his heart, I wasn't the most important. Every time he had a choice, he unequivocally favored Chloe. His sister was like a thin, tight thread, binding and strangling our relationship, until it bled profusely. Sometimes I asked myself, does he truly love me? But if he did, why was he always unwilling to let her face any hardship, yet left me feeling disheartened again and again? Such bias. Ed love only deserved to be replaced. Early autumn at Seaside University. Ginkgo leaves carpeted the ground in gold. I walked into the psychology department building, stepping on the thick layer of fallen leaves. I was an early admission graduate student. My advisor happened to have an opening for an undergraduate course. So, I naturally became a teaching assistant for an undergraduate psychology class. 3 months into the semester, the classroom was still packed. The freshmen were excited yet reserved, chattering softly about which professor was attractive and which TA was kind. I looked down, organizing my course materials. Suddenly, there was a stir at the door. Look, he's so handsome." I looked up, and saw him. Liam. He was in a sharp suit, exuding a cold and rigid aura, standing not far from the classroom entrance, seeing someone off. Beside him stood a familiar figure. Chloe. She was wearing a cropped denim jacket, exposing a sliver of her slender waist. Her face wore light makeup. Her lips were a soft, harmless color. Her belly had mostly returned to normal. She looked like an innocent freshman, clean, pure, and delicate. She had taken 3 months of sick leave, and everyone thought she was unwell. But I knew. She had gone to give birth. And now, she was back, as if nothing had happened. Liam spotted me immediately. His eyes held a hint of mockery and impatience. He frowned, his voice deliberately cold. "What are you doing here? Chasing me all the way to school?" I instinctively wanted to laugh. Chasing him? Oh, right. Years ago, when he was jealous, I did follow him to appease him. But that was before I knew how biased and selfish he truly was. I gently closed my course materials. Then I turned, walked up to him, and smiled graciously. "You're mistaken, I'm not here to chase you. I'm a graduate student at Seaside University, and I'm the TA for this course." His expression subtly shifted. Clearly, he hadn't expected me to still be at Seaside University. "Oh, and by the way," I added unhurriedly, with a gentle smile, "I don't have time to watch your sister play the damsel in distress. It's her first day back at school, hasn't she fully recovered yet? There are so many students, what if someone accidentally bumps her belly? TSK, the consequences could be quite bad." Chloe's face stiffened for a moment. But she quickly put on a gentle, understanding facade. She tugged on Liam's sleeve and whispered, "Brother, just let it go. She's a teacher, let's not disrupt the class. We should be respectful." I looked at her innocent face and suddenly found it amusing. This sister, she wasn't just good at feigning weakness. She also knew how to put on airs. The next day, I went to school just as dawn was breaking. I wore a long, off-white trench coat, my backpack slung diagonally, neatly concealing my waistline. Walking along the tree-lined campus path, as usual, I listened to a podcast, preparing for today's lesson. But today, something felt off. Passing the dining hall, a girl nudged her companion and whispered, "That's her, right? She's so pretty, it's not surprising." At the academic building entrance, a boy whistled as he watched me. My buddy was right, grad students really know how to live it up, even having a kid. I frowned. I took off my headphones, my gaze sweeping over them, with a sharp edge. No one dared to speak again. It wasn't until I entered the psychology department office that I fully understood what was happening. A senior peer from my department glanced at me, hesitating. "Professor. About your private life recently, there are some rumors." "Don't worry, I'll help you find out who started them." Private life? I was completely bewildered until a few girls from the student council secretly ran over to tell me, "Professor, do you know? Someone posted on the campus forum, claiming you had an unwed pregnancy, that your child was already born, and that the one Liam adopted was yours. They're saying, gee, your graduate studies are just a cover-up, a pretext to find a boyfriend to register the child under his name." I was speechless for a moment, then laughed in exasperation. Who was so creative, making it sound like a palace drama? Who spread this? The girl hesitated, then handed me her phone. On the screen was a screenshot of a chat conversation that had just gone viral. Accompanying it was a high school physical exam report. The examinee's name was obscured and blurry. The remarks section clearly stated, 4 months pregnant, advised to rest. I recognized it instantly. This was Chloe's pregnancy. But the key point was this: she had pinned this report on me. She cried while explaining to people that she hadn't done anything wrong, that I had stolen her brother, and framed the child as hers. That I had messed up the examination report and leaked it. It's Grace's, of course. She and my brother have been dating forever. She got pregnant with my brother's child, that's why he's helping her raise it. I'm only 18, how could I be pregnant? They've broken up now, so Grace is afraid to admit it. She probably said these words with genuine emotion. Her expression was aggrieved, innocent, and yet extremely confident, as if she truly were the victim. I stood on the second floor of the psychology department building, leaning against the window, watching the morning mist on the campus green below gradually disperse. Someone told me Chloe would be attending class today. I took my lecture notes and headed to the academic building. Their classroom. Just as I reached the door, I heard soft sobbing from inside. I really didn't get pregnant. They're just jealous of me, making up such stories to harm me. How will I ever date anyone again? Her tone was soft and sweet, with a hint of a sob, a touch of grievance. It was designed to evoke pity. I stood at the doorway for 3 seconds, then pushed the door open. The classroom instantly fell silent. The moment she saw me, her almost crying expression instantly changed. Her eyes lit up, as if she had finally awaited her savior. She hurried towards me. "Grace!" She grabbed my arm, whispering urgently, "Just admit it, okay? If you admit it, my brother will marry you, and you wouldn't want the child to be nameless and without a proper family, would you?" She winked at me, emphasizing the phrase, "my brother will marry you." Did she really think I was so eager to marry into the Hayes family? I laughed. Her voice was low, but the surrounding students had sharp ears. Several gazes instantly fell on us. A mix of shock, disbelief, gossip, and disdain. It was all there. I looked down at her hands, which were glowing white. "This act of yours is truly brilliant. From the prenatal checkup report, to slandering me, and then trying to make me confess, you've orchestrated this entire self-directed play so naturally. Chloe, do you really not want to continue your studies?" Her face turned white. Before she could speak, a flurry of footsteps sounded outside the classroom. Liam rushed in, sweat beading on his forehead. Seeing me, his eyes instantly blazed with fury, and he came forward without a word. Slam! He slapped me hard. My head reeled from the blow, and half my face burned. I slapped him back just as hard. TSK, my hand hurt from it. The entire class erupted in uproar. Someone couldn't help but exclaim, "Professor is so quick on her feet." Liam snarled through gritted teeth, "Why are you slandering Chloe? She's only 18, why are you so malicious?" I raised my head, my cheeks flushed, my eyes filled with coldness. "Liam, have you lost your mind? Do you really think I care about marrying you? Who was it that said half a year ago they wanted to register his sister's child under my name? And who is now turning around and accusing me of slandering her?" My tone wasn't loud, but every word carried weight. "Do you even know who I am, to dare insult me so carelessly? Liam, you and your sister Equally disgusting. Liam froze. Chloe's face was ashen, her lips trembling slightly. She realized her act seemed to have failed. Slap, while was still stunned, I delivered a resounding slap directly to her face, showing no mercy. Her face snapped to the side. Then, clutching her face, she froze, her eyes ringed with alarming red. Dead silence fell all around. I watched her emotionlessly, my voice clear and distinct. You like to put on a show, don't you? Then I'll put on one too. This one's called Beating the Scheming. Among the students, some raised their phones, recording rapidly, and even a few gossips whispered commentaries. The one named Grace is a psychology graduate student. She just got slapped by the guy, and the girl was still pretending to be innocent. Wow, Professor just slapped the girl back. What a twist, what a twist. What a high-stakes family drama. Follow me for the aftermath. Seeing me strike, Liam was consumed by rage. He raised a hand high, poised to strike. But I suddenly raised my hand to stop him. Wait. From outside the door, a deep voice resonated, Madam. Everyone turned. A middle-aged man resembling a butler walked in, impeccably dressed in a suit, holding several documents. He quickly walked to my side, and respectfully handed me lab results, examination reports, and a tablet playing a clear video. In the video, Chloe was seen walking towards the hospital, her belly protruding, limping, and holding her back. Liam was supporting her, acting cautiously. The background was clear, the hospital sign prominently visible, and the date was shortly after last year's high school exams. These are Chloe's ultrasound report and her hospitalization records during pregnancy. Alfred's tone was calm. Attached are the paternity test results. The child's father is Liam. Boom. The classroom erupted. Holy cow. It's actually true? So they said Grace had an unwed pregnancy, and it was all a false accusation against her? This sister. He's not his biological sister, is she? To actually be involved with her brother. I walked forward, my expression unchanged, and slapped the paternity test results onto Liam's face. You've got some nerve, Liam. I sneered coldly. Have me raise a child for you and your sister? Do you even deserve it? Liam's face was livid, his mouth twitching, barely holding himself together. After the scene you've made today, I'm telling you, I will never marry you. Who are you going to marry then? A clear voice rang out from the doorway, carrying an unmistakable hint of amusement. Everyone looked over. A tall, slender young man leaned against the doorframe. He wore a custom-tailored suit, his sunglasses off, and carried a sleek, personalized silver pen. Wow, who is that? So handsome, so much more handsome than Liam. My lips curved into a smile. What are you doing here? Jax casually fanned himself with the pen, walked into the classroom, and draped an arm around my shoulder. My wife was being bullied, how could her husband not come? Alfred followed behind him, bowing his head respectfully as he addressed him, young. The students were dumbfounded. Jax, however, acted as if he were on center stage, waving his hand. Keep it low-key, low-key. My wife doesn't like to show off, he said, clearing his throat lightly. He pulled a bright red certificate from his pocket and flashed it before everyone. Look closely. It's properly stamped by City Hall, a legitimate marriage certificate. He opened the page and read out the names, Grace. Jax. Liam's face instantly went deathly pale, as if someone had struck him over the head with a club. He looked at me, then at Jax. His lips trembled a few times, but he couldn't utter a single word. I patted Jax's hand. Reliable. Jax grinned triumphantly. Of course. Anything my wife asks for, I have to deliver. The video went viral at a speed far beyond anyone's imagination. Brother helping sister raise a child, grad. Youth student slandered, teacher slapping incident confirmed. Each keyword, taken alone, had viral potential. Not to mention, netizens were absolutely enthralled by Jax's declaration, no one bullies my wife, flooding the comment section. Watching a handsome guy go all out to support a beautiful woman, I'm here for it. This sister's scheming acting is pretty good. I suggest she head straight for Hollywood. I'm still confused, is Liam her biological brother? Or her biological father? Within a day, the topic's popularity surged into the top 3 viral video clips. The family could no longer sit still. In less than half a day, William intervened. He leveraged his extensive network and influence, accumulated over years, forcibly removing and scrubbing all related videos and expose content from the internet. The speed and ruthlessness of his methods were astonishing. 2 days later, Liam's parents swiftly flew back from abroad. Immediately upon landing, they were cornered by a mob of reporters at the airport, who questioned them until their faces turned ashen. The internet, however, was not so easily controlled. The videos were deleted, but what about the screenshots, retellings, screen recordings, and popular online posts? I scrolled through my phone, watching the persistent high popularity with cold eyes. The university was outraged and announced Chloe's expulsion. Liam's parents could no longer sit still. They rushed to my house overnight, carrying gift baskets and an air of admitting fault. Standing at the door, they were humble and deferential. Grandma, her eyes red, stood before me, leaning on her cane, and took my hand. Grace, we've wronged you, our whole family has wronged you. Before she could finish, she suddenly brought her cane down hard on Liam's leg. The blow wasn't light, his leg buckled, and he staggered. You scoundrel! That girl has been with you for 4 years, and what have you done? Get on your knees. Liam clenched his jaw, his face grim, yet he stubbornly refused to kneel. Grandma, still not kneeling? William's voice was icy, but merely stood there, head bowed, unmoving. Robert and Susan quickly interjected, Grace, we genuinely came to apologize. This whole situation has become so embarrassing for us, and we hope you can be understanding. How about we handle this privately and stop it from festering online? I watched their family, systematically shifting the blame to the internet. Not a single one of them truly understood where they went wrong. Today, Jax had remained quietly by my side. He wasn't dressed as ostentatiously as before. In a light gray shirt and black dress pants, he exuded an unfamiliar sense of composure. After listening to their words, he suddenly let out a low chuckle. He stepped forward, his voice hushed and chillingly cold. Your children can act recklessly, ruin reputations, and just charm their way out of it. So, does that mean my wife can hit people, lie, slander someone's name, and then just say sorry and be done with it? Robert's face stiffened. We didn't mean that. Then what exactly did you mean? Jack stared at them, all traces of amusement gone from his eyes. Why should Grace endure your bullying? I gently patted his arm and stepped forward. You want me to forgive you? My voice was calm, yet every word was clear. Fine. I pointed at Liam, then at Chloe. Have them both kneel down and kowtow to me 3 times. The family's faces all changed instantly. I stood in the light, a faint smile playing on my lips. Otherwise, you can look forward to the second wave of online frenzy tomorrow. The family's faces were still stiff. Liam and Chloe looked humiliated. Yet they held their ground stubbornly, refusing to kneel. As the atmosphere grew tense, the doorbell suddenly rang. Before I could move, Jax had already opened the door. Immediately after, a middle-aged couple walked in. Their attire was simple, yet their aura was so sharp it was daunting. The man's gaze was deep, the woman's stride firm. The moment they appeared, all the Hayes family members' expressions shifted. Mr. David, Mrs. Victoria? How did you come to be here? I sighed. Dad, Mom. What are you doing here? The family looked at me in astonishment. My parents, David and Victoria. David, the wealthiest man in Seaside, in control of Vance. Victoria, a renowned psychologist, commands vast educational resources. They had always adopted a hands-off approach to parenting with me, rarely making public appearances. Today, however, breaking all precedent, they stood by my side. Grace was wronged, of course we had to come. Mom looked at me, gently pulling me close. Why didn't you just call, dear? I didn't speak, murmuring, I can handle it myself. My dad had already begun. Starting today, all collaborations between Vance and the Hayes family are suspended. For projects already underway, we would rather breach the contract than continue. Robert's head snapped up. Mr. David, this is a bit extreme, isn't it? You bully my daughter, and you expect me to continue paving the way for you? David scoffed coldly. I don't tolerate such behavior. Jax leaned against the wall, one hand in his pocket. He lazily snapped his fingers and tooted. I told you, my wife prefers to keep a low profile, but you wouldn't believe it. The family was consumed with regret. Grace, who had always been quiet and kept to my studies, was the rumored never-seen younger daughter of Vance, David's only cherished daughter. And the child they adopted not only was involved romantically with my boyfriend but also wanted me to be a scapegoat. How ridiculous. Liam and Chloe finally, under everyone's pressure, bowed their proud heads. The moment their knees hit the marble floor of my living room, their faces were filled with humiliation and resentment. Where was their self-righteous attitude from before? I glanced at them, then waved my hand dismissively. These people. Bullying the vulnerable and deferring to the powerful, it's disgusting. The family looked as if they had all been slapped. They left with their tails between their legs. The moment the door closed, the house fell silent. My dad shot Jax a cool glance. Jax, I've watched you grow up. You married my daughter? Without even a ceremony? Planning to just get away with that? Jax froze in place. The next second, he rushed forward, eager to please. No, 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 I'm planning it right now. I've written out the wedding itinerary 3 times already. And look, Grace's oldest brothers are on their way back, and Mr. Williams said we absolutely must make it grand and respectable. Don't worry, I will never let Grace face any hardship. My dad nodded indifferently, his tone lukewarm. That's for the best. After seeing my parents off, Jax finally relaxed. He immediately grabbed his sleek, personalized silver pen, came over to attend to me, fanning me with one hand while beginning to babble. Wifey, please don't be mad. I called your parents to back you up. Isn't it okay that I messed up? Wifey, you were so fierce just now, so badass it made my knees weak, but please don't give me the silent treatment now. Wifey, say something, don't ignore me. I reached out and simply pinched his babbling mouth. A gentle squeeze, and the world fell silent. I shot him a glance. I've taken sick leave from school. You go prepare the wedding. His eyes immediately lit up. Like a happy puppy, he formally kissed my palm, his eyes crinkling in a wide smile. Yes, ma'am, my dear wife. Sunlight poured in, illuminating the intense sincerity in his smile. This time, my heart skipped a beat. 1 in the morning. I had just finished showering and was lying in bed, wearing a face mask. But the doorbell suddenly rang. The maid, bewildered, went to open the door. When she did, her jaw dropped. 2 black executive SUVs were parked steadily at the door. Their headlights still on. Richard and Kat Harry each emerged from a car, carrying trunks. Quick. Be gentle, don't disturb my daughter-in-law. That's right, these gifts must be arranged neatly, just like we rehearsed. The maid rushed to knock on my door. Grace, Mr. Richard and Catherine are here. Before I could even react, I heard Richard's excited voice from outside. Grace, my heart still hasn't calmed down. My rascal son finally married you. I walked out in my bathrobe. I saw 2 rows of maids carefully carrying and arranging trunks in the living room. The trunks were opened. As far as the eye could see, there was gold and fine jewelry. And a few antique porcelain pieces, meticulously wrapped, were utterly translucent. Their texture alone bespoke their extraordinary quality. Richard's eyes were teary, his voice trembling. My rascal son, he finally did something right for once. Grace, if he dares to treat you poorly, tell your father. Our Hayes family has a small army of bodyguards for you to choose from. Catherine, even more so, grabbed my hand, her voice urgent and worried. Grace, tell me, you weren't forced into this, were you? If you've been kidnapped, just blink, and I'll sort it out for you. I couldn't help it, tears of laughter streaming down my face. No, Catherine, Jax treats me very well, I'm here voluntarily. Really? She still wasn't convinced. Just then, the main door was pushed open with a clang. Jax rushed in, disheveled from travel. His hair was messy, looking as if he had just woken up. The moment he entered, he shouted at his parents, "You came all this way, why bring so many things? It's late at night, what if you wake up my wife?" Then, while pushing his parents toward the door, he didn't forget to instruct the maids. "Just leave the things, you can go now. Wifey," he instantly changed his expression, running over with a smile. Rubbing my shoulders, he nudged me toward the room. "Don't mind them, get some sleep. We're going to low. Okay, at wedding dresses tomorrow. Good night, wifey." The moment the door closed, the living room fell silent for a few seconds. Richard rubbed his nose, whispering to Catherine, "It's true. Our Hayes family, we really have a daughter-in-law now." Catherine gently nodded, her eyes full of smiles. Their long-awaited daughter-in-law had finally arrived. Jax's and my wedding was grand and joyous. Held at a private estate on a hillside. We celebrated for an entire weekend. The guest list alone spanned 10 pages. From international dignitaries and business moguls to my university classmates and neighbors, everyone was invited. On our wedding day, the sun shone perfectly. I wore a custom-designed haute couture wedding gown. Its train was so long it almost covered the entire campus green. Shimmering beads and gold embroidery, I felt as if I were stepping through shimmering light. At the end of the red carpet, Jack stood in a platinum gray suit, devastatingly handsome. He stood amidst a sea of flowers, his gaze fixed on me from the moment I appeared. The officiant asked, "Mr. Jax, do you take Miss to be your wife, through poverty or wealth, sickness or health, life or death?" He didn't wait for the officiant to finish, nodding emphatically. "I do." He grasped my hand, his voice unusually solemn. I do. From today onwards, I vow to cherish her above all else for the rest of my life. If she says east, I will never go west. If she says it's cold, I will absolutely not be warm. Laughter rippled through the audience. He then looked down at me, with a seriousness that felt like a lifelong vow. Grace is my heaven, my earth, my one and only, destined love. I chuckled softly, tears welling in my eyes. After the wedding, fireworks lit up the city sky. Our photos appeared on financial magazine covers, with the caption, Hayes marries, cherishes above else, global. Later, when I went to class, he would drive me. If I craved a late-night snack, he would get up in the middle of the nig. HT to cook for me, even cutting fruit into heart shapes. When I attended my graduate thesis defense, he waited downstairs at the academic building with flowers and a megaphone. Grace is my wife, let my wife go first. No one is to cut in front of her. Later still, I became pregnant. Jax chuckled foolishly, cradling my belly all night, whispering in my ear, Wifey, you're amazing. With the baby, the three of us will be our own kingdom. He spoke with great sincerity. You are the queen, you rule. The baby and I will listen to you. The wind was warm, the sky was blue. And the man I cherished most dearly gazed at me, his eyes filled with intense warmth and tenderness. This journey, full of twists and turns. Finally, I was his only princess. He was my destined home. Thank you for watching today's story. If you enjoyed this video, please like and share it with your friends. We look forward to hearing your thoughts in the comments section. Feel free to share your opinions, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more exciting stories. See you next time.